over the previous 30 years or so, Berkshire has been a tactical participant in the insurance business. With the acquisition of Gen Re and the broadening of GEICO's scope, the company's been transformed into a mainstream activity. How will this transformation result in growth and low-cost float over time, i.e., how do you avoid becoming average? And to follow on with the very perceptive 10-year-old from California's question, will Berkshire's newspaper interests be able to make the successful transformation to the new electronic world, especially the unique content of the Washington Post? Thank you.
Well, those are both good questions. I think to answer your second one, I think the Buffalo News will do just as well as if you take the top 50 papers in the country in making a transition. How well the top 50 will do is really an open question. But there is, the industry factors will, in my view, just overwhelm any specific strategy, because any strategy is it's so easy to copy in the internet. That's one of the problems of the internet. It's one of the problems of capitalism. I mean, if you open a restaurant and it's successful, somebody's going to come in and figure out what your menu is and how, the whole thing, and then they're going to try and do it in a little bit better location or at a little lower price or whatever. That's what capitalism is all about, and it's terrific for consumers. The internet accentuates that process. I mean, it gives everybody in the world real estate. There are no prime locations to speak of. I mean, I can give you the argument for how you develop one and all of that, but it really changes the world in a big way. If you were at 16th and Farnham in Omaha in the 20s with Woolworth, that's the place where the streetcar tracks crossed. And a whole bunch of them were going north-south there and east-west, and there wasn't any better real estate in town. I'm not sure if that's worth as much now in nominal dollars as it was in the 1920s, and that looked permanent instantly. Who was going to rip up the streetcar tracks in 1910 or whatever it was? So now you rip up the tracks every day, and so the fluidity is incredible in terms of moving economic resources around compared to what it was. The newspaper industry is going to try and figure out how to be a very important information source in a new medium. And it may solve that problem to a degree and still have lousy economics. That's unfortunately, the newspaper industry is always, historically, the way the industry structure worked. Once you got into the majority of households and everything, somebody else could bring out a way better paper, but it wasn't going to go anyplace against you. I mean, you had such structural advantages that you could put your idiot nephew in, and he would do fine, wonderfully, and he nothing could happen to him except when this different medium came along. Now you can put in a genius, and whether that will make any difference is an open question. I would say that it's quite doubtful. If you own a newspaper, you want to do everything that you can think of, and fortunately everything anybody else can think of, because you can copy them so fast. And it may work in terms of product, and it may not work in terms of product, and it may work in terms of product and still not work in terms of economics very well. And I don't know the answer to that question. I know that we will play it out at the Buffalo News, for example, as strongly as we can. I don't think other people are going to get way better results than we are. I don't know what the other people what their results are going to be and how it will work. It would be crazy to sit on the sidelines and simply ignore what's going on. So we will do our darndest to have good economics when this is all through, but nobody knows how it's going to play out, in my view. The question about insurance, about whether we become average is not going to be good in insurance. Average is going to be terrible in insurance over time. It's not a it's a commodity business in many respects. And if you are average, you're going to have a very poor business. You may limp along because you got a lot of capital supporting the lousy business, but it's not it won't be per se. But I think in GEICO and in General Re, and our other operations as well. We do not have average businesses, and there's nothing about the way the industry is going that would force us or lead us to have average operations. I mean, we have special things we bring to the party in both cases I've named, and actually in other cases as well. We have things we bring to the party that should make us considerably better than average. It'll show more in some periods than others, and it'll be different in the way it is applied at GEICO or at General Re or at National Indemnity's reinsurance operation. But none of those, in my view, will be average. But average, and there will be a lot of average by definition, average is not going to be good. The other problem about it is average is not going to go away either. So that is an anchoring effect to some extent on what even the skillful operator can achieve. I think insurance will be a very good business for us over time. Charlie?
Yeah. Every once in a while, we have a business sort of die under us. Trading stamps is now off 99.75% from its peak volume. And we were able to do nothing to prevent that except wring all the money out and multiply it by about 100.
We actually did about, 120 million in the late 60s per year in trading stamps. Far more dominant in our area than S&H was nationally. And we have, by skillful management, Charlie and my constant attention to detail, have taken that business from 120 million a year down to about 300,000 a year or something?
Oh, way less than that.
Yeah. We thought of having the sales chart here and turning it upside down to impress you, but it wouldn't have worked very well.
I think it's the nature of things that some businesses die. It's also in the nature of things that in some cases you shouldn't fight it. There is no logical answer in some cases except to wring the money out and go elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's very tough for managements to. In fact, they almost never face up to that. It's very, very rare. And it's logical to be rare. In a private business, you can understand why people face up to it. In a public company, if you take the equation of the manager, he or she may be far better off ignoring that reality than accepting it.